I think on the voyage, because he was reading Lyell, so he's reading the Principles of Geology, and that was, I think, probably a slow gestation. But I think when he discovered fossils, like, you know, the Megatherium and some of these, you know, there was a whole group of, you know, megafauna, large mammals that had obviously become extinct, and I think that would have been a big aha moment. It's like, okay, things really can become extinct. These things lived in the past. But not only that, did they survive? So they must have evolved and been adapted to live in those conditions, whatever they were, in the past. And we don't know how long ago that was. But he also found evidence for fossils up in the Andes, which again, so he saw the sea coast lift, you know, by a couple of feet. So then by extrapolation, if this a couple of feet in an earthquake, then for it to get thousands of feet up, and the earthquake only happens once every few hundred years, you know, again, this idea of, you know, lots of time to build the Andes. They've been built from the sea up, you know, that must take millions of years. And I guess the other Eureka moment that people often talk about is that when he read the essay of Malthus, which was an essay on population, and Malthus was really talking about the population problem. So even back then, and this was written in the 18th century, he was talking about the problem, which would be that populations, and he was really talking about humans, but he used other examples. Populations are increasing exponentially, whereas food production is increasing only linearly. So at some point, obviously, you're going to reach a point where the exponential line is going to cross the linear, and you're going to run out of food, and this is, you know, and so now we have ideas of things like carrying capacity and so on. That's probably how we talk about it in these days. You know, the environment is limiting, basically, so there's only so many resources, whether it be food or shelter or whatever it might be. And so Darwin read that, and suddenly he had, as he said, a theory with which to work, because he knew then that if only some survived, so nature's prodigious, you know, in producing lots of offspring. You know, things can produce thousands of eggs at a time, or spores, or whatever it might be. If only some of those survive, then there'll be this struggle for existence, and then those ones that are, you know, the most well adapted, or that can survive the best in that environment and reproduce, are the ones that will then continue the line. So that gave him this whole struggle for existence, and yeah, and then he just accumulated evidence to do with that from that point on.